Canada's economy is currently facing a worrying trend. Inflation is on the rise and it's causing concern among experts and policymakers. The Bank of Canada is set to announce its latest round of policy decisions on January 25th, and many predict that they will raise interest rates to combat inflation. But is this the right move? Some experts believe that the central bank has already raised rates too high, creating the conditions for a recession that has already begun. The Bank of Canada is expected to announce a quarter-point increase in interest rates, which would bring the benchmark rate to 4.5%. This would extend the most aggressive series of rate hikes in the central bank's history. However, not all experts agree that this is the right move. David Rosenberg, a widely read Bay Street economist, believes that the Bank of Canada and its peers have already raised interest rates too high, creating the conditions for a recession that has already begun. In this video, we'll take a closer look at the current state of inflation in Canada and explore the potential dangers of the Bank of Canada's decision to raise interest rates. As you watch the video, ensure to hit the like button, subscribe, and drop any opinions or questions in the comment section below. Inflation in Canada is currently around 6%, which is well off the Bank of Canada's target of 2%. Cost pressures are receding, but perhaps not fast enough for an institution that's mandated to achieve price stability. In other words, the Bank of Canada's credibility is at stake. Most of the professionals who are paid to predict the trajectory of Canadian interest rates say that the governor, Tiff Macklem, will raise the benchmark rate at least one more time. Citigroup Global Markets Incorporated's Veronica Clark thinks it will take a hike this week and one more increase in March to get inflation under control. The Bank of Canada's decision to lift the benchmark rate by a half-point in December was classified as a surprise because Bay Street had settled on a smaller quarter-point increase as the most likely outcome. By opting for yet another outsized increase, Macklem showed that he will err on the side of crushing inflation when looking at a dashboard of mixed signals. Despite the increase, however, the central bank said that the game had changed.
Policymakers opted against raising interest rates in January 2022, but they did state that they would be raising the benchmark rate when they updated policy 5 weeks later.
With headline inflation on its way to a June peak of 8.1%, the Bank of Canada's leaders knew they would be spending most of the year playing a high-stakes game of chase. By the end of the year, Canada's inflation fever seemed to be breaking. As policymakers administered another dose of tough medicine, they said they would be open to giving their patient a break in the new year. The data published since early December are mixed. Year-over-year increases in the Consumer Price Index slowed to 6.8% in November, from 6.9% in October, and then 6.3% in December. By itself, that might be enough to persuade Macklem and his deputies to stop raising interest rates. But the central bank started raising interest rates aggressively because it concluded that demand had outstripped the Canadian economy's ability to keep up, creating a mismatch between supply and demand that can only lead to inflation. Canada's economy still had lots of heat at the end of the year. Employers added more than 100,000 jobs, dropping the unemployment rate to 5%, one of the lowest marks on record, and retail sales and restaurant visits were buoyant. Economists who doubted inflation could be tamed without a spike in unemployment are now changing their forecasts. Underlying inflation does seem to be moderating without a recession, Douglas Porter, chief economist at Bank of Montreal, said in a recent interview. My odds that I'm putting on a soft landing have been slowly rising over the last 3 months. The central bank will have been unsettled by its latest quarterly surveys of businesses, which have shown that many companies are facing significant cost pressures, including rising wages and commodity prices. These cost pressures, along with the strong economic growth, could lead the Bank of Canada to continue raising interest rates in order to keep inflation under control. However, raising interest rates too high could have serious consequences. Higher interest rates make borrowing more expensive, which can slow economic growth and lead to job losses. It can also lead to a decrease in consumer spending and business investment. In conclusion, the Bank of Canada's decision to raise interest rates in order to combat inflation is a delicate balancing act. On one hand, keeping inflation under control is crucial for maintaining the stability of the economy. On the other hand, raising rates too high could lead to a recession and harm the economic growth and well-being of Canadians. It remains to be seen what the Bank of Canada will decide, but it's important to keep an eye on the potential consequences of their actions. So, what do you think? Is the Bank of Canada's decision to raise interest rates the right move? Let us know in the comments below, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on notifications for more content like this. Thanks for watching.